Good morning. This is Pep Talk, Pensacola's expert panel with Meg, and this is BoatSmart, sponsored by Key Marine of Northwest Florida. Our host, Stefan Schmidt with Georgetown Technical College. He is the Marine Services instructor there, as well as Bill Kidwell, who is the services manager at Key Marine. And I promise you, between the two of them, they will have an answer for any question you have, because this is the expert panel. 850-437-1620.
Any question to do with boating.
Right.
I have had people ask me marriage counseling questions on here before, and I'm like, what does that have to do with boating? But
well, sometimes you never know.
You never know. It could go good. It could go bad. It just depends on the situation. You are listening to BoatSmart. It is a call-in show. 850-437-1620. Text that line if you have a question for me or Bill. We're more than happy to answer those questions. Maybe you have a comment about the school. Maybe you have a comment about Key Marine. Just give us a call or text, 850-437-1620. As Meg said, I am the Marine instructor over at Georgestone Technical College. Georgestone, located at 2400 Longleaf Drive here in Pensacola. Been going there. This is going to be my 18th year at Georgestone, and we're just going to keep on keeping on as long as I can, because I love my job. I love doing what I do over there. So Georgestonecollege.edu is a website. You can check them out as well. Key Marine is your Yamaha, Mercury, Suzuki, Repower Center, also a Mercruiser product as well. So keymarincenter.com is the website, and they also have a Facebook page. You can check that out too.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. So they do a really good job with their website and their Facebook page, keeping people informed, getting the word out there about Key Marine and all the great things they do out there. They got great technicians, great staff. That front office area out there with Aaron and Dustin, they do a great job giving callbacks and things like that. So, and answering the phone. They answer the phone most every time you call out there. So that's great too. So
yeah, it's great when you get a real person, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it always is. You know, you get so many phone calls and stuff, and you call places and you get the, press 1, press 5, press 22, and all these things that you have to do to get through to anybody. It's like almost impossible, and you end up hanging up eventually, you know?
Well, now you have AI, so I get the person, and I know it's not a real person, and they start talking to me about whatever give me your question, and I'll be happy to answer it for you. And I'm thinking, you're not a person. I want to talk to someone.
I want to talk to a real person in the United States of America, please.
America.
And Key Marine, lucky for us, they are in the United States of America.
Yeah, I wanted to add something.
Oh, my gosh.
About that answering the phone. You know, there are a lot of places that they just let the phone ring, let you leave your message, and then they'll get to it on their schedule. Well, at Key Marine, that's one of the things that makes our customer service different and on a different level is we're going to answer it on your schedule. So we're going, if there's any way possible, we're definitely going to answer that phone for you.
Yep, they take care of the customer. That is for sure. So as we go, we're in the summer. I'm in summer break right now.
Yeah, you should see the smile on his face. He's so relaxed. He's laughing, coming in here, making jokes.
He's
and all
only got a week
stuff.
or two left.
I'm in a good mood because we had a successful summertime, you know, and I'm still talking to my students. I'm not off work 100%, you know. So
shocker.
Yeah, you know, so I'm still going on with it and everything. But we had a successful summer school, and we talked about that last week. All the things that we did. We went on field trips and got on boats, and students got hired, and it's just an awesome time. So now I'm setting my sights on fall.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
As we get ready to go, I'm still thinking about that, you know, and I have to bring myself down a little bit because I start getting excited, but also stressed out, you know, trying to figure out my way.
I'm going to interrupt you because this is the time for you to rest, to get on your boat, relax.
I am
because then you can refresh, so you have new energy when you get the kids in the fall.
I am the worst at that. I am.
Yeah,
I really
this is the time,
I've never been that person, and I wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock every day. I don't have to. There's something wrong with me, and I've done that all my life. You know, I've always done that, and that's the way I do things. Well, see, it's good. It's good for everybody around me.
Yeah, I envy that. I'm not a morning person.
Sometimes it's not so good for everybody around me, but it works. You know.
Right.
But so yeah, we're looking at fall, and my class is going to be packed.
That's good.
Yeah, we got 2 new students that are going to start in the fall, along with the 4 I just started. 2 full-time students. Let me say that because I have like 4 or 5 part-timers starting with them.
Wow.
And then I have about 5 part-timers in the second half. So all this stuff, we'll talk about that as we go into the new year and how I manage that crazy schedule that I have with students and how it works.
Well, right now, we got to talk about you relaxing a little bit.
So I'm gonna try. And we'll settle down a little bit.
There you go.
Last week was the air show. And there's a lot of talk about that and all the things that were around all that, and it was just a lot going on last weekend. And in our boating world, we had several accidents over the weekend.
Really a shame.
With that, one lady lost her life over in Orange Beach area where two boats collided, and this, we didn't get all the information. You know how it goes.
Yeah, that just sounded horrible.
A lot of this information comes on social media, so you don't really get the real answers. But I believe that most of that stuff could have been avoided, by being safer on the water. Some people said that accident over in Orange Beach, the one boat didn't have lights on.
Oh, no.
You know how we preach about navigation lights.
You say that all the time,
show,
yeah.
And slowing down. And I seen the pictures of both boats, and one that had to be a high rate of speed. The damage that was done, I think they sent 9 people to the hospital. One,
oh my goodness,
lady lost her life. So we want to keep those people in your prayers, and you don't want to, assume something happened. But I think they need to let the word out what did actually happen, so people can be educated by that.
Absolutely.
So there was a boat that hit a bridge.
I saw that too. Fortunately, they were okay. I'm not sure that the boat was okay.
The boat was totaled, of course, and when you look at all that stuff and you say, okay, how do these things happen? Sometimes it's alcohol. Sometimes it's somebody behind the wheel that's not paying attention, somebody that may not understand boating safety and things like that. So that's why we're here to talk about all that stuff, So as we get more information that we'll share it as we go to keep other people safe, So I know there were 3 accidents over the last weekend. The third one I didn't get any information on, but I knew there were 3 over the weekend. So we want to make sure that we stay safe.
Right.
And getting the word out and that kind of stuff, and that's what we do here. So,
Well, we're listening to BoatSmart. That's what this whole show is about. And if you have a question for us, all you got to do is text it in at 850-437-1620.
More than happy to answer your questions. Maybe you have a problem with your boat. We can help you with that. Maybe if you call us or text us, I always say call, we can help you fix that problem. I've had people that text in and we fix their problems.
That's the whole point.
So, yeah.
It's the expert panel.
I remember years ago I had a lady that called me from offshore.
Oh, my goodness.
And she actually worked for a dealership. She was a parts person at a dealership, and she was offshore on a boat, and they had a problem where the engine shut down. So she calls me on my cell phone.
Wow.
So her name was Christy.
Oh, my goodness.
One of the best parts people I've ever met in my entire life. I worked with her years and years and years ago. And she calls me. She says, I got a problem with this boat. And they're out fishing.
Oh, no.
And they were several miles offshore, and the engine shut down.
Oh, no.
And I talked her through it.
Wow.
And it was a fuel problem. They were able to empty the fuel filters and things like that and get it going again enough to limp it back home.
So do we need to start the Stefan Schmidt helpline?
I know.
Put that number out there for everybody?
Credit cards, I will take your credit card over the phone for that. So, yeah. But so it's possible we can help you today. 850-437-1620 is the number. I'm going to turn it over to Bill because he's got a lot to talk about as well. And I'm on break now, so Meg, I'm going to take a break.
Relax.
We'll turn it over to Bill.
Keep smiling. Just relax.
Yeah, rest. Yeah, but I just wanted to remind everybody that, the wait time at Key Marine is still, at minimum, just a couple days, maybe a lot of cases we're getting on it that day. It just depends on the job that comes in, and that's all because of all the changes that we've made. And if you've listened in the past, you know about all that. And, we have helped quite a few people when they're in their boats and they call and they want to know, what can I do to get going? We do that as well at the shop, on a regular basis. Check the lanyard and stuff like that, stuff that they can do for sure. And then, hey, I wanted to briefly talk about the checks and balances that we have in place that gives the customers a different, customer service level than they're used to at Key Marine, at maintaining our accuracy and correctness and getting it done right the first time and almost every time. And really it starts off whenever, the boats are taken in either over the phone or they come in and the person, either Dustin, Aaron, or Kylie writes them up and, they take the complaint and what they want done, and then they create the work order and it goes in this little file then that's the first time I get involved because I'm too busy to actually check them in. And so once I get involved, I review the tickets and I, at that point determine, does it seem like it could be correct? And if there's any doubt in my mind, I immediately call the customer and say, hey, could you explain to me, I'm the service manager, and exactly what the problem is. And so the correctness is correct there. Correctness is correct.
I like that phrase.
Yeah.
That could be a bumper sticker right there.
Right.
But I think it's great, Bill, that you do take the time to call and get real specific about what they need.
Yeah, we need to know that from the beginning because we're wanting their bill to be as least amount as possible, and we don't want the technicians chasing their tail. And then I determine who's going to get the tickets because of certain skill levels. There are a few that have come in recently that don't quite have the skill level, but they're working on it and all that. So once they get the ticket, then in the shop, we have a shop foreman that's always, and not only him, but the other technicians that have quite a bit of experience are poking their nose in there, especially if it's a running issue, and giving their 2 cents. And, they all work as a team to create that correct diagnosis. And then they make their estimate. And then it comes back to me. At that point, I review the estimate and I question the correctness of it and all that. If I have any doubts whatsoever, then it goes to either Aaron or Dustin, and they add the estimate up. And, and at that point, they're catching some things that I might not have caught, like are all the parts there, or this part doesn't seem to be the right part number or whatever. Then that comes back to me again, and I'm the one that calls the customers and gets that approval and explains to them, this is why we're going to do what we do. There are a lot of places out there that just say, oh, it's going to be $2,000 to fix your boat. And I'm not really quite sure. I would have to talk to the technicians. I have the correct answers all the time when it comes to that because I'm prepared whenever I call you. I want that to be as straightforward as possible. Then the work is done. Then the ticket comes back to me again. I review it and all that, call the customer and explain to them that, hey, this is done and all that. Then it gets closed out. So there are several checks and balances.
Okay. Yeah, so that's very important. We got a text?
We sure do.
Okay,
yeah, we got a question coming in. This is BoatSmart, 850-437-1620. Bill and Stefan are your experts, so we're getting some specific questions in this morning, which is great. If you had a 60 horsepower Johnson that had good spark and good compression, but the carburetors were flooding, would you consider it to be worth it to rebuild the carburetor?
It depends on the overall, condition of the motor and, if they're really wanting to get into a 4-stroke.
Yeah, I think, if the motor's in good condition, it's sure worth doing the carburetors. You have to outweigh what the boat or the motor's worth versus how much the repair is going to cost. Carburetor repairs typically aren't that much. That's a 60 horsepower. It's 3 carburetors on that motor. And
yes, a Johnson.
So yeah,
it's a Johnson.
I believe that's 3 might be a 2 carb. It's probably a 3 carburetor. I think Mercury's was a 2. That one I believe is a 3. But anyway, you're looking about 4 hours, 4.5, 5 hours labor to do that job.
So
right?
It's definitely less expensive than a new motor, but at the same time, you have to take into consideration the cost of operation that we've talked about, going for the long haul from here out with the price of fuel and all, because a motor like that uses a whole lot of fuel compared to the newer 4-strokes.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, but they could bring it to Key Marine and have you take a look at it?
We have one there right now, a 60 horse, and as a matter of fact, they've probably already looked at it. We're cranking that one before we're jumping on the service and making sure it's right.
I haven't seen one of them in a long time, so maybe have them go out there and count the carburetors for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think they made a 2-cylinder
They
60.
might have, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure about that either. It's been a while.
Okay, this is BoatSmart. We got some questions coming in this morning. This listener says, I've got an 8-inch crack in the block. Can that doesn't sound good, can that be welded? It's an inboard motor.
No, not a cast iron. They can't weld that.
No,
and I wouldn't want to do that anyways and stand behind it and put their safety at risk when they're assuming it's good, forgotten a year from now, and it separates again.
Yeah, that's never a good repair.
Okay.
I've seen people do that, try to weld them up, and they don't last. Typically, if you have an external crack, you may have an internal crack, and you're just throwing money away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, is that another thing someone should bring in and have you take a look at?
Yeah, we could look at that. We, like y'all have heard in the past, we definitely work on the stern drive stuff, in particular Mercruiser, some Volvo stuff. Just depends on if we've got to have a computer to look at the Volvo stuff. We can't do that, but we can still figure out quite a few issues without the computer on there.
Yeah,
Okay,
those cracks typically come from freeze damage, so that's a possibility of a freeze damage.
Okay, someone just texted in, is there a fee to have us bring the boat in to have you take a look at it?
Well,
Let's say they look at it, you give them a little consultation, and then they opt not to do something.
that's a little bit of gray area there, because
Okay.
let me tell everybody, our estimates are pretty much really good. They're not like a free estimate that you would get from someone that comes to your house and does electrical or whatever. They throw this number out that's probably double or triple, and they just take a wild guess. We need to look at it closely. And if I'm
Right.
having to pay one of these technicians to do so, then I have to collect on that.
Yeah, I don't know any shops that do that for free. So I'll tell you, at most places they're going to have a minimum. Maybe it's an hour minimum. They get into it, and if it's longer than that, they're going to call you and say, hey, it's going to take us a little longer, because depending on the product, you may not have great access to the motor if it's an inboard or stern drive, and you have to take things apart and look at things and evaluate.
Right.
So there's always typically going to be a charge for that.
Okay, that makes sense. This is BoatSmart. We've got Bill and Stefan in the house. We also have something to give away, I believe, this morning.
Yeah, we do. Today we're giving away an OEM Mercury Verado hat and a Suzuki keychain. And this falls in line with a lot that's been going on lately with the 4th of July and people coming in after dark from the shows or even operating after dark. So the question this week is, when you're anchored out at night, should you have both your front navigation light, the red and the green, and the all-around white light on while you're anchored out?
Okay, so
Yes or no?
what's the prize?
The prize is an OEM Mercury Verado hat
Whoa.
and a Suzuki keychain this
Ooh,
week.
a double winner. Okay. All right. All you got to do is text your answer in at 850-437-1620 with your name and email. And the question again is, when anchored at night, should you have both navigation and all-around white lights on?
Yep, that's
Okay.
a great question. And, yeah, you should know that if you're out at night.
Okay.
For sure.
850-437-1620. So I'll be checking the computer here with the text rolling in. Okay.
So let me give a tip to the customer that has a problem with their boat. When you bring your boat in to Key Marine and they're asking you these questions about your boat, trying to figure out what your problem is, don't lie to them. Make sure you tell them everything that's going on. Sometimes customers believe that if they don't tell you the whole truth about what's going on with their boat, that's going to save money, right? So I've had customers come in and not give you the correct information. Maybe your prop has been changed. Maybe you have an issue, where you sent your prop off or you put a different prop on or something like that. That's great information to give when you're getting your boat serviced, Maybe you don't want to tell them it's been sitting for 5 years, stuff like that. So the information that you give helps with the troubleshooting that the technician, it shortens the troubleshooting time that the technician has to deal with. Right, Bill?
Definitely. That's a great point, Stefan, because that's true. I don't know what it is, but some people do think that way. And, whenever it comes to those tickets, whenever I hand one to my technician, I want to know all that, the truth of it. That way we can streamline our diagnosis and it will actually cost you less.
Okay. A lot of times you can actually read the problem and fix the boat without actually, in your head before you move into the actual task. You can almost troubleshoot it by the information you gather from the customer.
Excellent. Okay. We do have a winner on our
Awesome.
question here. So the question was, when anchored at night, should you have both navigation and all-around white lights on? And the answer is, all-around white lights only. Must be visible from a distance of at least 2 nautical miles. Running lights off. That's correct, yes?
That is correct.
All right, congratulations, Bruce. Bruce won this morning, and he won an OEM Mercury Verado hat and a Suzuki keychain. So congratulations, Bruce. I'll send you a text with all the info on how you can pick that up right over at Key Marine.
And that light has to be the highest point on your boat. It has to be taller than you. It has to be taller than your T-top. It should be. Now, you see a lot of boats that's not the case, but it needs to be, and they call it an all-around light because you need to see it from every angle of the boat when you're approaching that anchored boat.
And it's also called an anchor light. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
And I didn't want to say that because
Right.
it would have given away. But, those lights aren't there just to they're there for your safety. And I could add a little bit more there. The reason why you don't, and a lot of people, like at the 4th of July, so many of them had both of them on when they're anchored out. A lot of people just don't know for some reason or another.
They
but
think more the better.
it lets other people know that you are underway when you have on the green red light.
Okay, we've got time for one more question here. So we've got a lot of questions in this morning. Do you service sport fishing boats with large diesel engines?
No, we don't do the diesel work at all. We try to specialize in the gas, Yamaha, Suzuki, Mercury Racing, and Mercruiser product. And did I say Suzuki? If I didn't, that too.
You just did.
You just did?
Yep.
All right. Well, no, and I really don't have any recommendations. I don't really like recommending people because I'm not in control of their quality.
Oh, that's a good answer.
There are a lot of diesel people around that take care of diesel, and diesel is its own entity. It's its own it's a different technician that works on diesels, right?
Interesting.
I have diesel in my course, but it's only 150 hours of my course. We teach a lot of it out of a textbook, and they learn a lot of the diesel portion from the actual stern drive and inboard portion because it relates. In my entire career, 40 plus years, I've probably touched maybe 4 diesels, and it's probably been maybe alternator went bad, maybe I'm doing a water pump or an oil change. So I'm not an expert on diesels.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's more than I've touched. So yeah.
Okay, very good.
You have to specialize in stuff to give the customer their money's worth. And there are a lot of good diesel mechanics out there. We're just not one of them.
When you find that person that does the diesel, they get a reputation like a lot of techs do. And this reputation takes them from hundreds and hundreds of miles away from here to work on boats, diesel boats.
Right.
I remember there was a gentleman named Diesel Don, and he passed away, a couple years ago. But he was that guy. You hear about him all the time, and he would come up in the Gunnersville area, and he would come down to the Gulf Coast and work on diesel boats. One of my students right now works on diesels, but he lives up in near the Lake Martin area. But he comes down here and works on boats in this area because he's so good with diesel product.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your reputation precedes you and follows you around.
That makes sense. All right, we've got about 40 seconds left. Do you have a boating safety tip for this weekend? A quick one.
The nav lights, the
lights.
gear, pay attention to what's going on around you.
Bilge
Can I say life jackets?
Life jackets.
Yeah.
For your pets?
Yeah, for your pets too. Very important.
Just assume that all this stuff is in place for your safety. And at this point, you don't have to pass a driving test and all that to drive a boat. So there's all kinds of unexperienced people out there.
And be prepared for the worst situation.
Yeah.
And pay attention to people that are around you because a lot of people don't know.
Right.
So they could be your worst nightmare.
And respect the law enforcement out there because they're there to save your life. The Coast Guard and the game wardens and the police department.
I feel like we packed 2 hours into this show. Thank you for all the texts today and all the questions and our winner. We appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much to Stefan Schmidt with Georgetown Technical College, Bill Kidwell, who is Services Manager at Key Marine of Northwest Florida. Thank you guys for being here on a Friday.
Thank you. Great show.
welcome.
We'll see y'all next Friday.
This is BoatSmart. They'll be back again next week with lots of advice for you, so get your questions ready. And you can also win a little prize every week, too. This is Pep Talk.